Quiet questions. Here's a short trip down painful memory lane of alternate versions of the same question I get asked a lot. Why are you so quiet? Are you shy? Why don't you talk? Do you talk? Can you talk? Is something wrong with you? Are you dumb? Why do you hate people? Do you have social anxiety disorder? Are you human? Why don't you speak up more? If I had $1 for every time I heard one of these questions, I could afford a therapist to finally answer them. Family pressure. Ah, yes, the childhood memories of being called an idiot and a fool by my father because apparently not being loud and extroverted is a crime. I mean, who needs self esteem, right? Apparently, it was okay because he was my dad. Meanwhile, random strangers saying these things, that was a no no. My father always yelled at me and my introverted sisters for the simplest things, and we were convinced he hated us. This is ironic since I learned later on that my dad was kind of like us when he was young. And being a boy, he got it harder, I guess. I guess he was trying to protect us by destroying any self esteem we had, which also made us dislike him for a good chunk of our childhood and also caused us to be more reserved. Good job, Dad. Self torture to avoid interactions. My dad, the morning champion, would drop me and my sisters off at school before most students even woke up, and we were convinced this was his way of telling us get lost. So, as other students arrived, I'd sit at my desk pretending to sleep for an hour. I wasn't tired, but nothing screams, "Don't talk to me," like hunching over like a corpse, completely unaware of my surroundings. Sad note, as a tall, skinny person, you can see how painful this routine became. Those hard wooden benches were the salt on the wound. Another instance of self torture to avoid interactions was at my first job. I would skip lunchtime and drink water to fill my empty stomach and tell my concerned coworker I was not hungry, all to avoid going down to the lunchroom. Don't do this. I paid the price painfully. Sadly, I'm still recovering to this day. People's overreaction to me speaking. When I did speak in school, it was like I was breaking news or performing a miracle. You can talk, they'd say, shocked. I'd often wonder if they actually thought I was mute the entire time. We had a blind person at school, so maybe they did think I was mute. The world will never know. People avoid me like the plague. I hated Spanish classes with a passion. This teacher was obsessed with group skits. Was her life so boring that she needed kids to entertain her?
Go pay for a movie, you cheapskate.
Only God knows how I survived several years of Spanish classes. Meanwhile, the look on my classmates' faces whenever they were paired with me said it all.
Oh no, please don't make me work with this weirdo.
I would either wait until the last person was left and pray to be paired with them, or graciously accept being forced into a three-person group where I was the third wheel. I avoid people like the plague. Before I leave my house, I conduct a full on espionage mission just to see if any humans are outside. I check through windows like I'm the protagonist of a spy thriller. No alert? Cool. Time to go throw out the trash and dodge getting seen by anyone. Mind you, this was long before COVID, so I was just prepared for the apocalypse in my own way. Proud loner now. In bio class, I did a project where I created a chromosome model all by myself. Yes, all by myself. And guess who got that part of the test right? Me. When it came time to present, though, let's just say I've erased that part from my memory completely. No one needs to know how awkward that presentation was. We're just gonna pretend that part never happened. Ever. This is war, said that teacher. Teachers started getting onto something. They have rules like no single projects will be marked. I know they're just too lazy to mark 40 odd individual assignments. By sixth form, I had enough. I even sat out a group presentation that was worth part of my grade for that academic year. Week after week, while other groups presented, I was at ease. After all the groups had presented, the teacher realized he had no grade for me. During our short close-up convo, I told him I'll take a zero, but oh, the teacher didn't like that, so he gave me a short essay to write. I wrote it. It didn't get a flashy grade like the group presentations, but it beats a zero. Mom would be proud. People make jokes about me. In high school, classes were arranged alphabetically. Unfortunately, that meant I sat at the back near the bin. Anyways, I remember writing my fictional story that keeps me occupied while most people socialize, and I ended up laughing to myself. Yes, I was writing in a black cover notebook. I soon heard students mumbling about me writing names of the people I was going to kill. Guys, you're not that important. You can die on your own. Well, I guess that made me a serial killer or the next school shooter if I was in the US. Sorry for existing. Also, if you like black cover notebooks, check out my links in the description below this video. If you're an introvert, use at your own risk. I attract bullies. There is always the extroverted air breather or an obnoxious popular kid who felt their life's mission was to break me out of my shell, like I'm a valuable pearl out of a really tight oyster. They would cross my boundaries, trying to get me to talk and trying to befriend me. Actually, this was straight up bullying when this girl began poking me and asking me, "Why don't you talk, huh? Huh?" Of course, other students thought it was a joke, especially since she was a midget and way shorter than me. I really wanted to use the short pencil I had in a way that it was not meant to be used. Gladly, I didn't do that. I know my mom is proud. Small talk torture. Taxi rides. The front seat. The one place where you cannot escape from a chatty driver who must be an extrovert experiencing withdrawal symptoms to try talking up conversations with some random stranger.
Dude, this is not a talk show audition, please drive the damn car and pay attention to the road.
Now, this was after COVID when face to face exams resumed at my university. I have to take taxis to go to classes because public transportation is horrible. On that particular day, I sat in the front seat next to the driver. I wasn't going to wait for another taxi and risk being late for my exam. I didn't really sleep the night before due to cramming for my exam, and I just wanted a quiet ride to catch some Z's. But no, he had to ask about my major and tell me how he could see me being the next Minister of Finance, yada yada. It got to the point where I started plotting my escape like my coworker who had to jump out of a moving taxi because of a creepy taxi driver. I wanted to hit the road, literally. However, I had an exam to do and I was not going to wait another semester to do it over, so I endured it, and several others since I'm still alive to make this video. My awkward voice. You know that sound when someone reads aloud and it's like they've never used their vocal cords before? Yeah, that's me. My voice is horrible. I'm a grown adult and sound like a teenager. Also, when I talk too long, I get exhausted. My cheeks hurt too if I smile or laugh for too long. It's also hard to keep my voice at a loud volume for too long. This is worse with my sinus problem. One reason I wanted to start this channel as well is to get myself talking more. I mean, I could have used an AI voice to narrate these videos. I mean, it's already a faceless channel. But no, you don't know how many people would die just to hear me speak for this long. Some people don't even know what I sound like, and they've spent 7 years with me in high school. Heck, at one time, I didn't even know what I sounded like because whenever I talk, I sounded different than the last time I spoke. So, for anyone wondering if that quiet person can speak, they can't. Unless they actually can, then that's rough, buddy. Use my links in the description and let's prevent one homeless person at a time.